I'm Sunaina Da Cunha, and I am the co-head fixed income credit at Aditya Birla Sun Life AMC Limited. There are three dimensions to fixed income investing: credit, liquidity, and duration. And our investment philosophy is centered around these three dimensions and can be summarized in one acronym, namely SLR. S standing for safety, L for liquidity, and R for returns. Safety talks to the credit dimension, and in that our entire endeavor is to try and assess the probability of default of various instruments that we invested and minimize the loss given default. And our entire credit process as a result is centered on that very activity. The second part of the acronym was L. L stands for liquidity, and the idea is to maintain and create liquid portfolios, and we do this by trying to match the assets that we manage along with the liabilities that we have for each portfolio. We do this by creating and maintaining self-liquidating portfolios or ensuring that our investments are reasonably liquid so that in case there is a demand or redemption, we are able to meet that at all points of time. The third part of the acronym is returns, which for us is risk-adjusted return. And for this we ensure that our view that we have built on duration, be it the short-term view or the long-term view, gets expressed through our various portfolios. And in such a manner that we're able to ensure that you not only get a good experience, but it should be from a risk-adjusted perspective as well. So this is our entire fund management philosophy. I'd like to delve a little bit into our credit philosophy as well. Our credit philosophy also we can sum up in an acronym, which is SSR. S for safety, second S for suitability, and the third and the R is for risk-adjusted return again. So let me take up the first S. And as I mentioned previously, our entire endeavor when we're looking at credit is to try and reduce the loss given default given the probability of default that exists. How do we do this? We do this by analyzing the companies, looking at the cash flows, doing tremendous amount of due diligence, and then trying to ensure that we build covenants through various structuring to ensure that we minimize the loss given default should this scenario arise. The second S is suitability. We manage various different kinds of funds based on various different mandates. And at the same time, we have credit views. But is that view suitable for the fund at hand? And that is where we have to determine whether a particular credit is suitable for the fund given its mandate and given its investor profile. The third letter in the acronym, which is R, is risk-adjusted return. For us, we have to continuously look at the credit spreads and judge whether the spread that we are earning justifies us stepping down the credit ladder or the rating ladder. And only once we are convinced that we are getting adequately compensated for the risk we're taking, would we actually invest in that credit paper. That's one. The second thing is, our analysts at all points of time are always looking for upgrade opportunities. And once that is cited, then can we take that in our portfolio so that when the spread compression happens due to a credit upgrade, that actually benefits our portfolios. So this is the kind of investment philosophy that we follow in credit at this point of time. So when you're looking at the investment style, the fixed income portfolio will have two components, the core and the satellite. The core will have the long-term view, and that would primarily be the view on credit as well as duration. Whereas the satellite portion of the portfolio will have the tactical view, primarily on liquidity and to some extent on the frictional duration that you may take in the portfolio. At all points of time, the fund managers continuously mining additional data and information that keeps coming in and looks to rebalance his or her view and hence portfolio based on the additional information that is coming in. So active monitoring, active management is always the style that we follow. So we continuously track various different variables that are there across geographies, global politics, macroeconomics, microeconomics, just to understand what other new information and data comes in, which may potentially change our view, and hence active management is the dominant style that would be played out through our portfolios. So how do we build our portfolios? Within the SEBI overall and overarching guidelines, for each and every scheme, we have our own set of guiding principles that modulates various different aspects such as single issuer concentration, group concentration, rating profile, minimum rating threshold, average duration, asset class concentration, etc., etc. We have a culture of active discussion and debate within our team. And we have very lively discussions on duration as well as credit. But once the fund manager formulates his or her view, that gets expressed in the fund. And every additional information or piece of data that comes in gets processed, and then either the fund management view changes, and then again that gets expressed in the fund. So it's a continuous active management, and I think nimble-footedness is the way you could probably describe our style and strategy. For the fund house as a whole, when we're looking at it from a credit perspective, we also follow an overweight-underweight strategy, wherein if we are very confident in a particular credit and would like to go overweight versus our peers, we do that within a particular threshold limit. From a credit perspective as well, for the overall fund house, we also follow an overweight-underweight strategy. And by that I mean, if we are extremely confident about a credit and happy with the risk-adjusted return it's offering us, we tend to go overweight on certain names versus our peers in our portfolios. And the reverse also is possible. Of course, if there are certain credits we don't like, irrespective of the market, we will not take exposure to those credits. I've entered my 20th year here at Aditya Birla Sun Life AMC Limited, and I think it's a continuous evolving process and philosophy. At all points of time, we continuously ourselves need to keep examining our own experience, learn from the experience of others within our industry as well as outside, and hence we continuously look to keep modulating and keep enhancing and to some extent changing the processes that we have. But I think that all happens within the overarching philosophy that we have, which, as I said, was SLR, safety, liquidity, and risk-adjusted returns.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.